What's poppin', y'all? Every time I see just a thumbnail of an interview that Lil Wayne is doing with some sort of sports TV platform, I get a spike of anxiety. My heart rate starts beating faster because it has never been good news. And here, it's no different.
We got the Carter 6 last year. Is the Carter 7 coming soon? And if so, is that the case? And maybe you give us maybe a sneak peek if there's any features on the album.
The Carter 7 is coming soon. I'm not sure if we're gonna just name my next album the Carter 7, but I got albums coming as well. But I don't know if they're gonna just name it Carter 7 or they're gonna wait for another album and name it that. But I got music for days, and what they do is they just come in here and they just grab a bunch of songs and they just put a title on it, like, yo, this Carter 7, so Carter 7 coming soon.
So here, he was doing an interview with Barstool, and Lil Wayne, he's a huge sports fan. Like, the guy still watches SportsCenter. I think he's a huge Skip Bayless fan, big Green Bay Packers fan. He's just nonstop. He loves his sports. However, when I'm listening to this, I'm like, what the hell is going? Number two, he's really got to let go of that hair. Like, everyone used to make fun of it, and I used to be like, man, come on, lay off of Lil Wayne, lay off of him, man. But I don't know how he was able to do it, because people were usually talking about his scalp and like his hair falling out, but the thickness of the dreads have gotten thinner. I don't know how that's even possible. It's like they used to be, let's say, a radius of 1.5 inches. Now it's like 0.75. So how did they shrink by 50%? That's very odd. With all that being said, he does seem to be a little bit slim and in shape, so that's good news. But with the music part, he's talking about the Carter 7, and I'm just like, oh no. Oh, no. Now, I did say the Carter 6 was one of the most overhated albums. What people were saying, man, Wayne is washed. I've been hearing Wayne is washed since the Carter 4. The day that the Carter 4 dropped, everyone was talking about how good the Carter 2 was in the mixtape series, and they said the Carter 4 sucked. I promise you, you can go back in history and see the responses. You can look up forum posts at that time. We have the archives. They are there. People were not messing with the Carter 4 off rip. Yes, it did sell well, but the sales of an album is really only indicative of how anticipated it is, not how well it does, at least in the first week. But we can all agree Carter 4 was great, right? Carter 5, I said, was a classic. Carter 6, overhated, but it's just not a good project. That's just it. And I think we're finally getting the answer, because if you guys have been here and listened to when I talk about these things, which is like a grand total of 9 people in the crowd, one more than a Magic 8 Ball, you would hear that the biggest criticism that I had for Lil Wayne when it came to Carter 6 and a lot of his music after the Carter 5 is he needs an executive producer. It's not a skill decay issue, because if you guys remember, he went on a solid feature run. Like, he did 2 features with Corday, I think it was. He did a feature with Polo G, and Lil Wayne was rapping his behind off. So clearly, his skill level is still at the top, and he's somebody that keeps his rapping sharp. He's always recording. He's always in the studio. He's always working. But I believe that the lack of a good executive producer, a modern executive producer, is what's holding him back. And when he's talking about, oh yeah, they come in and they take some songs and they put it out and they decide what to name it, I'm thinking, well, who's they? Because it was like Mac Main or Manny Fresh. Manny Fresh was on production for the last album, the Carter 6. Mac Main, I don't really know what his involvement is, but with all due respect, we know that there's a long history between Manny Fresh and Lil Wayne, but we need some new blood in there. And this is why I think I'm getting the answer that I've desired from the last project, the Carter 6, is that these guys aren't allowing Wayne to work with somebody new. Because I'm like, why doesn't... Wayne is a great weapon. He is still sharp. Like I said, he just needs better production and a better executive producer. He needs to lock in with somebody that's got that ear and work with them. But if the people around him, the theys that he's talking about, are printing money off of his endless catalog, because this guy has so many songs that he just records, then it's no wonder why we're not going to get him working with a new producer. Because these guys aren't going to let that happen, because that's going to harm their paper. Although, realistically, if they do get him in the studio and actually making an album, because a good executive producer will be sitting with Wayne in the studio and be like, hey, forget all those other tracks that you were making. We're going to make this thing from scratch. This is the vision that I have for it. And they're just going to direct Wayne like he's a sniper. They're just going to point him exactly where they want, and they're going to ready, set, aim, fire. Wayne can fire. That's one thing he can do. He can light up that big lighter. And these guys, they seem to just be picking up whatever he lit up himself, just these old targets that he was just practicing on. They're like, okay, well, let's throw this one up. That'll be a bag. And then they decide what to name it, because they say, oh, well, the Carter 6. The Carter does a lot of numbers, so hey, let's throw him on there. And then they have his kids on the projects, where it's like, come on, dog. Like, they've got to earn the right to be on a project with Wayne. Now, you look at the Carter 6, it's still streamed well. You've got songs with, he got the Big X the Plug song. Yeah, there were a couple of songs on here. I like the Welcome to the Carter song, and I like the Big X the Plug song. But yeah, unfortunately, this actually didn't stream that well. Like, a lot of these songs haven't even cracked the 5 million mark for the Carter 6, and they dropped a year ago. So I expected better numbers. I expected most of these to be above 10 million. These are nightmare numbers. So it just goes to show that even attempting to just put these songs together didn't work out. Now, another Lil Wayne fan was talking about the same situation. That's none other than Sean Cotton of Say Cheese.
Your heart's not in it no more. You just recording and just putting it out. And you don't know what the next title's going to be. You have no control. You are a legend, man. You not know. Come on, man.
Carter 7 coming soon.
Wayne is my favorite artist of all time. But it just sucks how it played out. I mean, nothing's been the same since he got released from prison. And I loved Underground Wayne. I wasn't never too much of a fan of commercial Wayne, but if you know, the drought is over too. Man, the Drought 3, Louisiana. Oh man, all his underground that didn't come out that got leaked. The original Carter 3, Prefix, Suffix, the dedications 1 and 2, maybe 3. Those are my favorite Waynes. Carter 1, Carter 2, Carter 2, Carter 3, Carter 4 was iffy. And then after that, it was just all downhill from there. It's like he been.
See, this is the thing. When he says, oh, his heart's not in it, I don't agree with that, man. I think Lil Wayne's heart is in it, but Lil Wayne's heart has always been in the recording of the raps, because he wouldn't be hurt by not getting performances like the Super Bowl when it was in Louisiana, or not getting recommended or nominated for a Grammy and saying that he needs to work harder the next year. Somebody that feels that they're not in love with the game anymore isn't going to care about that, because they're going to know, like, yeah, man, I'm not even too tapped into it. I think Lil Wayne was always in love with the process of making the music, and these guys' responsibilities was to take the music that he made and then market it and put it together into an album or whatever the case may be. That's why he was able to re-record a Carter 3 and drop another classic after the first classic got leaked. He was just an animal, especially if you saw that documentary. And I'm in agreement with Sean a little bit here when he's talking about mixtape Wayne. I personally have an equal love for mixtape Wayne and mainstream Wayne. To me, they're not one and the same. But that's also, I think, another point that reiterates Lil Wayne was already rich for 10 years when the mixtape era was going on. So if his heart wasn't in it that much at that time, we would have seen a decline in the music during the mixtape run. But he was still motivated to take over the game, best rapper alive era. And I still think he feels the same. Granted, he has aged, and his drug use definitely aged him too. So we have to take that into consideration. But when it comes to, I think Free Weezy album was very solid. That was after the Carter 4. I thought that album was underrated, and the release of that just ended up getting jumbled up because he put it out on Tidal. It was a Tidal exclusive. Isn't that crazy? At the peak of the Carter 5 hype, because of the lawsuit between him and Birdman and Cash Money. He does Tidal and Jay-Z a favor by dropping Free Weezy album on there. Ton of hype. It did a lot for Tidal. And then when it comes down to the Super Bowl, Jay-Z's just like, hey man, toss that lob to Kendrick. It's in Louisiana, it's in New Orleans. Hey, sorry buddy, Lil Wayne. Appreciate what you did for me 10 years ago. I made a huge bag when I sold Tidal and got onto the board of Square. Man, Jay-Z is so ruthless. I love the guy. He's a absolute just Terminator when it comes to this game. But yeah, I can't say I anticipate new Lil Wayne, but I am saddened by somebody who is still so skilled that isn't being used properly. And he's not a guy that's like a Jay-Z or like a Ye that can create the vision himself and bring in the required people to execute on that vision. He is the weapon, like I said, and he needs somebody to hold that weapon, which would be the executive producer in this scenario. And when it comes down to retiring, I don't think this guy can retire. He loves the game too much. And what are you going to do, officially retire? That just doesn't ring off very well. Oh yeah, also Seeing Green. That was a fire track that he was on too. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.